Okay, and we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live stream. It's 7:35 p.m. here on mainland Spain, 6:35 p.m. in the Canary Islands, and it's the 29th of August, and wowee, the month of August has flown by. Only a couple of more days to go until we reach the end of this month, of course. So let's have a look at what's been going on in the news today here in Spain. Some of the main stories we'll take a look at. We'll also look at some comments that have been left on the channel recently, and we'll go into the chat in the second half of today's live stream and see what is happening in that chat section, which I have here on my screen. So if you're watching this evening, say hello in the chat section. Straight into the news, and as we know, Prime Minister Sanchez has spent the last few days in Africa, visiting three countries, I think, Mauritania, Senegal and Gambia, trying to quash irregular immigration from those countries. And as we can see here today, he described the return of irregular immigrants as essential, returning them to their country of origin, that is. The Prime Minister, Pedro Sanchez, for the first time during his African tour, which began last Tuesday, introduced in his speech on immigration the need for countries of origin to accept the repatriation of those who arrive irregularly in Spain. After recalling that the criminal organisations trafficking in human beings are intertwined with terrorist and drug trafficking networks, he added, to combat these threats, the return of those who have arrived irregularly in Spain is essential, mainly because this sector sends a clear, strong and dissuasive message to the mafias and those who put themselves in their hands. Sanchez had chosen to present a positive view of migration during his trip, and he reiterated this on Wednesday evening at the headquarters of the Cervantes Institute in Dakar, Senegal, where he presented himself as a strong advocate of regular migration, which, in his opinion, is good for both the countries of origin and the host countries. However, he then added, security is a top priority. So there we go. People that arrive in an irregular manner to Spain, normally on these rickety wooden boats coming from African countries to places like the Canary Islands. Different routes people take, of course. The Canary Islands probably the most dangerous route according to the experts on this. There are other routes, but of course they get shut down when the local police is able to stop these gangs or mafias, as they're called there, from putting people in these boats, because people pay money to hop into these boats. They don't just hop into them for free. They pay some dollars to whoever is behind these organizations, and that's what they're into. They're risking their lives. And also read today that, I think, not sure whether it's this year or in total, some 4,500 people have lost their lives in that Canary Island crossing, which, as I said, the most dangerous one. So Pedro Sanchez back in Spain tomorrow, and saying that the return, essential to return people to their country of origin. So a little bit unclear what Mr. Sanchez's final message is there, because yesterday he was talking about circular migration. Today he's talking about returning people to their country of origin. So a little bit unclear, but anyway, we'll move on. Second piece of news here, and the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, moderates to 2.2% in August, its lowest value in the year, due to the decrease in fuel and food prices. The Consumer Price Index, the CPI, moderated to 2.2% in August due to the drop in fuel prices and, to a lesser extent, in food and non-alcoholic beverages. This represents a 0.6% decrease compared to July's figure, placing August as its lowest value in the past year, specifically since June 2023. Core inflation, which excludes fresh food, energy and fuel, also declined by 0.1%, dropping from 2.8 to 2.7%, the lowest level since January 2022. This data, released in advance by the National Statistics Institute on Thursday, will be confirmed on September the 12th. With the August figure, inflation has seen 3 consecutive months of decline following the increases experienced in March, April and May, when the CPI climbed to 3.6%. So there we go, some good news. Inflation, or the Consumer Price Index, moderating there to 2.2% in August, and hopefully we put those days of high inflation behind us and we start to get back to normal with normal price increases and not some of the very high price increases that we had back in 2022, 2023, when the CPI, or inflation, was out of control. Not only here in Spain, but the European Union and other countries around the world, leading to the cost of living crisis, where people are doing it tough at the moment when it comes to their day-to-day expenses. As we know, some places have become very, very expensive, and some things have become very, very expensive, those daily consumer products. And the third piece of news, a little bit late picking up on this, is the Spanish press, because I think the original article was published back in April. But nonetheless, The Sun publishes the secret word that Spaniards use to describe British tourists. In Spain, the term guiri is primarily used to refer to foreign tourists, especially those from Northern or Central Europe, and particularly the British. However, it also applies to any foreign person with fair skin, blonde hair and blue eyes. Although somewhat derogatory, especially when referring to tourists who frequently go out and disturb the local population with music, parties and generally loud noise, Spanish speakers do not consider it an insult. According to The Sun, the expression "hola guiri," which Spaniards use to greet or welcome tourists, can make some people feel unwelcome, completely the opposite of what those using the phrase intend to achieve. Furthermore, the publication notes that residents in tourist centres are less likely to label visitors a guiri if they integrate into the local culture. This means adapting to the local culture and respecting traditions without negatively impacting others. So there we go, the word guiri. Now, I did a video about this word 4 or 5 years ago now. Can't remember exactly when I published that video, but I've heard it 1,000 times, and again it's mentioned in this article here that Spaniards don't consider this word an insult. But is it the person who says the word, or the person that is the receiver of the word, the person, or the person that should be considering whether it's an insult or not? If I call somebody what is labeled a derogatory term nowadays, I might not think it's derogatory, but the person receiving the word might think that it is. So does that mean that it is a derogatory term or not, depending on the way it's used and who uses it? And I think in English we've been taught over the years, especially in recent years, that a lot of words that we used to use maybe back in the 70s or 80s that we considered quite normal parts of the English language, other people didn't like us using those words, hence those words have become derogatory. But here in Spain, as we saw there, the Spanish don't seem to get it when it comes to these words. They throw these words around to describe people. It's a bit of a joke using the word guiri or the word moro or some of the other words that they use. Panchito is a word that you'll hear quite often here in Spain to describe people from South America. So, and they say, well, it's only a bit of a joke, we're only having fun. But it is a derogatory term. And who are the people that the Spanish like to describe as guiris? Well, here we go. Here's a couple of them here sitting on the beach, having a beer, getting a bit of sun on the white body. And that is what would be described as a guiri here in Spain. But as I said before, everybody that falls into the foreign-looking category can be called a guiri, especially European foreign-looking. Somebody from Morocco is not going to be called a guiri, for example. Somebody from South America won't be called a guiri. But somebody from the north of Europe, or perhaps the States, Canada, Australia, somebody that looks a little bit like myself, will be called a guiri here in Spain. But according to the Spanish, not an offensive word. Let me know what you think. First comment here from Sissy. Circular migration worked quite well in the US until the 1980s, when the Reagan administration decided to change things up, creating the mess we now call immigration. Yes, Mr. Sanchez announced yesterday, or the day before I think it was, that he's going to promote circular migration. Nothing new circular migration in Spain, because the current government has had this policy in place for years now, but it hasn't been successful. So Sanchez is adamant that he wants to try and make it work, train people in those African countries, bring them to Spain to do certain jobs, and then send them back home when they're finished. But we've seen in the past, I think, reading today on this topic, that back when other plans like this were put in place back in the just before the pandemic, I think, there were experiments with countries like Senegal, and some people didn't return to their country of origin. So that's always going to be the worry. As soon as they step foot on European soil, some people don't want to go home. So it can be an issue in that regard. But anyway, to try and stop the illegal immigration or the irregular immigration that we saw earlier in the news article today, because as the Prime Minister points out, people do put their lives at risk this way. So there has to be a better way. Spain needs labour, Europe needs labour, and there are people willing to come and work here and do the jobs that locals don't want to do. So if they can work out the way to do it best, let's see. Another one here from Patrick. Hi, Stuart. Enjoyed the giggle tonight. Just noticed that you don't thank people for watching the ads. I always let them play out. No skipping. That's my 2 cents. Yeah, Patrick, I don't thank people for watching the ads because it's not something that I can control. I don't, if you're watching the television and they put ads on, do you thank the advertisers for putting them on, or the content creators for putting them on? No, I think would be the answer for that. And if you want to get away from the YouTube ads, which can be a problem, especially when you're watching on televisions, on large screen devices, can be a bit of an issue, the amount of ads that pop up. Pay for YouTube, $11.99 a month, I think is what it'll set you back. You get music included in that as well. You get YouTube Music, so you get this huge music catalog. You also get an ad-free YouTube experience, and in my opinion, it's well worth it. And I say that not as a content creator here on YouTube, but as a consumer of YouTube content that just doesn't want to put up with ads. And it's a way to get around it, and for me it works, and not a huge amount of money, I don't think. So consider it, Patrick, if you want to get around those ads. But if you want me to thank you for, not skipping the ads, thanks. One here from Janet. I totally agree. What English Riviera? It's a joke with unpredictable weather. This is why the majority flock to Spain and other countries with guaranteed sunshine and overall wonderful experience. Thanks, Stuart. Yes, Janet, thanks. The topic of the English Riviera. I think, I don't know what the purpose of that name is, the English Riviera. We know the French Riviera. We know the Italian Riviera. I didn't know there was an English Riviera, but apparently there is. But it's in decline, according to some people. And there's endless videos on YouTube. There's a group of British YouTubers that go around just filming all of these places in the UK that have seen better days. Let's be honest. Some of the people that they interview, not sure where they came from, but they've crawled out of the woodwork, living in some of these resorts nowadays, or that used to be resorts because maybe it's cheaper to live there. They've been pushed out from wherever they grew up or born. And they moved to these places, and unfortunately not leading the best lifestyles if you watch these videos. And as I said, endless amount of videos. There's 3 or 4 YouTubers putting this content out in the UK specifically, and some of the places are absolute dumps. Absolute dumps. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And again, some of the people that get interviewed as well, shops that haven't been open for years, pubs that have closed down, hotels that are boarded up, beaches that are absolutely disgusting. And again, not everywhere on the British coast I imagine is like this, but watching that content on YouTube, wow, a real eye-opener, as is some of the content coming out of the States with some of the cities in that part of the world as well. Wowee, you just don't see those things in Spain, or at least I don't. Maybe I walk around with my eyes closed, but some of the things that I see on those videos there, you don't see it here. One here from Emma, and there's me, can't get back in after living there 10 years, having to leave because of lockdown, destroying my career there because I don't make more than €3,500 a month for me and my daughter. Thanks, Emma. I remember Emma has been leaving comments on the channel for a while now. I think working in one of the Balearic Islands, I think back in the day, don't quote me on that, but obviously, like many people during the pandemic, decided to pack up and go home, whether that home is, the States, England, Australia, wherever it is where Emma is from, and trying to come back. And it's not easy because obviously the visa situation has changed, had to give up that visa that she had before. Maybe it was a residency type visa, and as soon as you give it up, you're not allowed back in. You don't meet the characteristics anymore. So it's an issue, I understand, Emma. But hopefully one day you'll be able to come back to the country that obviously you want to come back to, being Spain. But unfortunately, during that COVID period, if you are an entertainer, which I imagine Emma is, they weren't good times. They weren't good times for the entertainment industry, no. Another one here from JD. I'm just wondering what the position is in Spain regarding neglected land. On the 24th of June, an orchard that has not been worked on for several years and is very close to the houses caught on fire. Because the land is neglected, the vegetation is very dry, and on the 28th it caught fire again. I believe that the bushes and vegetation were cut down, that if the bushes and vegetation, were cut down, this would prevent any future fires. My question is, can the owner be forced to do this, as yesterday even a helicopter had to come out? Yeah, JD, thanks for the comment. I'm not sure on municipal rules and regulations when it comes to this type of thing, but I can understand your worries if you've got this neglected piece of land with fruit trees on it or other types of vegetation and it catches on fire, putting your home at risk. Who's responsible for keeping it in decent condition? I imagine the owner is, and it is owned by somebody. Another question is trying to get the council to do something. But what you're going to have to do is go there and ask who's responsible for that land. It's a fire hazard and you want it dealt with. Simple as that. Just try and get it sorted out. Because you don't want your house going up in flames because of a vacant block or vacant piece of land with vegetation that's out of control and dry, because it's a fire hazard. And I'm sure the council would react if you went there with your complaint. So that would be my advice. And if anybody has any better advice, comment section please, for JD, I think the person's name was. And I hope you get it sorted out, JD, because you don't want your property going up in flames, as I said. One here from Dean. Hi, Stuart. Hope you're well. I'm wondering if you cover anything to do with Andalusia, as I'm looking to move to Andalusia. When you mentioned about the bottles of water being on the corners of buildings and outside doors, may I ask what is the logic behind this? Yeah, Dean, firstly with the Andalusia or Andalusia content, I don't put out a lot of content about Andalusia because I don't live in Andalusia. But there are people that do put out content in that part of world in the world. Check them out. I don't know any names off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are YouTubers out there putting out content from Andalusia. When it comes to the bottles of water that are left outside doors, mainly in villages or in smaller cities where people from villages live, because they bring these habits with them. We've got some neighbours here in my street that do the same thing, because they come from a village but they've moved to this town and they do the same thing. No one else does it, but these people do. And I think the purpose is to stop dogs urinating on the corners of buildings. I think that's the purpose. I'm not sure, but I think that's the purpose. Again, don't quote me on it, but I think that's the reason why people leave those bottles out. Does it work? Got no idea. Because as I said, I've never done it. But I think that's the reason. So thanks, Dean, for your comment. And the final one here from Andrew, valued member. Many UK tourist resorts have become very neglected and somewhat undesirable. They are very expensive and offer poor quality and dreadful service. I'd rather stay in my back garden. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, adding to that debate that started the other day about the English Riviera. Of course, places like... let me think if I can remember. Torquay, I think, was one of the places. Torbay, I think, was another one. Claxton-on-Sea, I think. All of these places, I'm not sure if they're places or not. Claxton-on-Sea and some other places with strange names. that have seen better days, basically. And people in the UK don't want to go on holiday, or a lot of people don't want to go on holiday to these places anymore because they're not guaranteed good weather. If you've only got 7 days off or 10 days off or a long weekend or a bank holiday weekend and you want to get away, get some sun on your body, you don't go to Brighton because you can't be guaranteed good weather. So what do? You hop on an EasyJet flight or a Ryanair flight and you head to Alicante, where you can almost be guaranteed 100% that you're going to get sun for your 3 or 4 days holiday. And then you head back to the UK with a little bit of a colour in your face, a little bit of a tan on your body, and you're as happy as Larry. But if you go to Claxton-on-Sea, you might not get that experience. And so that's why people prefer to go to Mediterranean destinations. And it works out probably cheaper at the end of the day as well with an all-inclusive holiday. But again, I'm not an expert, but I think that's the general feeling that many people shared in the comment section regarding this topic. Now into the chat section I'm going to go. Before I get there, background change. This photo was sent in by Jen, and it's a place called Torres del Rio, and I think it's in Navarra, or Navarre, I think, in the north of Spain. I think, don't quote me, but I think that's where it is. Thanks, Jen, for sending the picture through. If you've got a similar picture that you would like to see on the backdrop, similar to this one here that Jen has sent through, whether it's a village shot like this, whether it's a coastal shot, whatever the shot of Spain, feel free to send them through. And the email address is this one here on screen at the moment, spainspeaks@gmail.com. Feel free to send your pictures through to end up on the backdrop. The only requirement is that they be of the right size, which is the landscape size. So 16:9, I think, is the format, and not the typical Instagram photos, which are a different size. I think they're 9:16. So 16:9 is the size of the photo, if possible. And I'll be able to put it on the backdrop, and we can get the whole photo in, which is what we've got here with Jen's photo. So thank you very much for that, Jen. spainspeaks@gmail.com for any others that you want to send through. And any other information as well that you've got, that's the email address to send through. People that have supported the channel in recent times, whether it's on the super thanks option on YouTube, the super chat in the live streams, people that have bought me a coffee. Dominic just bought me 5 coffees before. Thanks, Dominic, for that. Appreciated. I've got my week's quota of coffees sorted out for next week. Patreon supporters as well. Thank you very much for that support on Patreon. And also people that have become YouTube members, the channel members on this YouTube, starting at $1.99 a month. That's also an option to support the channel. Like button also going on the screen. Currently at, let me see, 64 likes currently. So we're going quite well today. So if you haven't hit the like button yet, please do so. Just below the video you will find it. Not sure where the like icon is on television YouTube, but I'm sure it's there somewhere. So please consider hitting that like button if you can. And also to people that haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do me a favor and also subscribe, turn on notifications so that you know whenever those videos are released. You get a little ding 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 on your phone. Stuart's released a video today, great, gonna watch it, bang, subscribed. Thank you very much if you can. If you haven't done so already, of course. Now into the chat section, let's see what's bubbling away there. Let me scroll up. Some familiar names in the chat section already popping out at me. Fred's in the chat from Montreal, 22 degrees there, sunny, getting ready for their trip to Spain. How should Fred dress not to look like a tourist? LOL. Good question, Fred. Basically, I'd just be yourself. I wouldn't worry about buying any special clothes so to fit in. Just go casual, you know, if the weather's warm. Not sure when exactly you're coming, but if the weather's still warm, you know, a pair of shorts, some type of shirt, pair of shoes. What else? Don't wear sandals and socks, and try to avoid that. What else can I suggest? Long pants to go out at night. If you go to a restaurant, put some long pants on, and everything should be okay. But apart from that, I wouldn't change too much. Just be yourself, Fred. Morris coming in here, back to Almuñeca on the 1st of September, then to Malaga City for the month of October. Vida perfecta, says Morris. Thanks, Morris, for that. Hope you enjoy your trip back to Almuñeca in Granada, I think it is, and into Malaga for a month. Matt, I'm on a chilled glass of Pinot Grigio. Cheers, Amanda. So Amanda's obviously asked what type of drink Matt is on today. Barbara's coming in from the Playa Flamenca, 29:30 there today. Well, seems to be the fairly regular temperature. Matt coming in from Reading in the UK, warm but overcast. Enjoying a wine, as we saw before, is Matt. DL, Dominic, who bought me those coffees before. Good to see you, Dominic. Hola todos. What else we got going on here? Mary's in the chat as well. Hi, Stuart. Not sure if you saw my email today with a snippet of news weather cloud seeding. I wish people would not play God with nature. I also share Spain's doubts. Yeah, only read, I didn't read much more than the snippet that you sent, Mary, but I did do a quick Google search, and apparently there were some Moroccan press outlets talking about this, but I didn't see anything in the Spanish press, I don't think. So I'll keep an eye out. Thanks, Mary, for that. TOL coming in from San Diego. Uncle Al, valued member in San Diego today. Philadelphia one day, San Diego the next. Spain another day. Gets around, does Al. Stephen in the chat section today from Spain, coming in, loving the weather. Haven't stopped with his 8-year-old grandson. Keeping you busy, Stephen. That's what kids do. They keep you busy, running around all the time, especially when you want to have a siesta. Not easy when you've got an 8-year-old running around. High Flyer coming in from Greece. Hope all is well. Rubbish internet here, so loads to catch up on when we get back to the UK. Yeah, it can be an issue, John, when you're travelling around the place, not getting a good internet connection. I think you can get these eSIMs nowadays, these eSIM cards, which just pop in. Well, you don't even pop them in because it's all electronic. Just sign up to the service and you get a decent internet connection through your phone. So look into that. Amanda saying hello to everyone. What else? Let's have a look. Andrew, just saw a comment from Andrew before. Good evening, Stuart. Hope you're well. 22 and sunny in London southeast. Thanks, Andrew, for that. Richard coming in, hoping everyone is well from North Yorks. I think our current Prime Minister must be the most unliked one in history. LOL. Well, it didn't take long to become hated. He was only elected, what was it, a month ago or something like that? A little bit longer than a month ago, and absolutely romped it in the elections, and now unliked. Things change very, very quickly in politics. Like one day, hated the next. Andrew coming in from Amarina. Rubbish weather up there in the north of Spain today. Good to see you. Fred saying, looking good with the haircut. Yeah, I got the old haircut yesterday, Fred. Gets a bit difficult to control nowadays. Doesn't necessarily need to be long, but the older I get, the more difficult it is to control my hair for some reason. So try and keep it short. So I went to my local hairdresser with my son, 2 for the price of 1. Bang. Johnny coming in from San Diego. Good to see you, Johnny. Valued member is Johnny. Thank you very much. Janet, also valued member, coming in from Oxford. They're in England. What else? Sani coming in from Valencia today. Usually in Basingstoke is Sani, but today spending time with the family in Valencia. I think the story was that travelled with her grandson, I think was the story, if I remember correctly. Dave, Madrid correspondent, coming in from a much cooler capital. Even had a nice rain shower this morning to help knock back some of the dust. Looking forward to September. Yeah, the weather has changed, Dave, in Madrid, I will say. Quite humid, though. but not the 35 plus degree days that we've had for the last month and a half. Cooler change today in the high 20s, I think. Didn't get above 30, I don't think, today, but quite humid. Joan coming in from an island near Seattle. Son and daughter-in-law and baby grandson live in Madrid, and we're planning to retire there next year. Good luck with that, Joan. Hope all goes well with that retirement plan, moving to Spain. Windenberg, as a Spanish 26-year-old boy, I think Spain will disappear in the next few years, as well as Europe. We're effed. The things that are happening, it's very dangerous. World out, but also in here. Yeah, that's a bit of an alarmist comment there from Windenberg. I don't think it's that bad. Ask anyone who's been around for a while, Windenberg, and I think they'll tell you to calm down. Calm down, I think. Gold geologist will say, congrats to Spain as your inflation rate is lower than the USA. Thanks for that. I'll pass that message on to Mr. Sanchez. Gold geologist, thanks for that. What else we got here? 99 watching, which makes Zaruk number 100. Thanks for that, Zaruk, for watching today. Saying hello foreigner is not an insult if it's certainly unfriendly to the recipient. Yeah, well, they don't say hello foreigner, they say hello guiri. Hola guiri. Hola. Hola guiri. Hola. ¿Qué tal guiri? Bit insulting in my opinion, but according to the Spaniards it's not. Circular migration, that's not a new concept. No, we all know it's not a new concept. It's been around for years, but the other thing is whether it's effective or not. That's one thing. St. Pete saying, or Dave saying, maybe a vocational school that's attached to the rear of the immigration centre would be an idea. Train people to become truck drivers, electricians, carpenters, welders, etc. Just Dave's opinion. Yeah, the other thing is whether people want to become those things. I imagine, Dave, somebody arrives and all of a sudden they're driving a truck around Spain. Not sure whether that's everyone's cup of tea, but we've got to put ideas on the table, get people into vocational training, absolutely. But again, we saw the other day that there's record numbers of Spaniards in vocational training nowadays. So, yeah, interested. The English Riviera is an outdated term, and many seaside towns are depressed with high unemployment. It's actually very sad rather than entertainment on YouTube. Again, Janet, not sure whether these videos are they're very, very popular videos, I will say. These videos on YouTube, and all people seem to do nowadays is go around and film people's misery. I don't understand it myself. I try to avoid that type of thing, but seems to be a trend on YouTube coming out of the States and also coming out of the UK, people filming other people's misery, showing how bad it is. And I'm not sure what the purpose is, whether it's trying to make other people glad that they're not in those conditions or, for pure entertainment, showing how bad other people live. But it's quite sad, some of the videos and some of the people that they get in front of the camera. Like I said, it's not really my style, but a very popular genre on YouTube nowadays. And people getting lots and lots of views. But anyway. What else we got going on here? Alex saying that taking a garbage tabloid such as The Sun seriously is more insulting than the term giddy. Yeah, it was an opinion piece in The Sun written by somebody who's living in Spain and was obviously paid money to write the article. What else? Let's have a look. I'm thinking about next Olympics in Spain, says Alan. What do you think? Don't think so, Alan. I think the next Olympics are in the United States. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look. Marsha's saying they call each other quite naughty word names. My neighbours can be heard to use some very juicy names in language, but it's not what you say, it's how you say it in Spanish. Yeah, there we go. What else? Let's have a look. Gold geologist has seen the water on corners of buildings in Peru. The thought is it stops dogs from urinating on the buildings. I have no idea if it works or the science behind it. Don't know. Maybe don't know whether there is a science behind it, to be honest. Charlie saying, I lived in Andalusia. It's big enough to be very different depending on city and province. Also, best to get a Spanish teacher from where you want to move to exactly. Interesting, Charlie. Thanks for that. Is that because of accent? Probably is. Clacton-on-Sea, I think you mean. Probably it's what I meant. What did I say? Claxton, did I? Clacton-on-Sea. What else we got going on here? Yes, the water bottles on doorsteps to deter dogs from urinating there. Not left out for pilgrims. Thanks for that, Nom. What else we got going on here? Internal tourists in England, particularly in Yorkshire, are called grockles. Not offensive, just an identifying phrase or word. Bit like guiris in Spain on foreign tourists. Love the programs. Thanks, Pamela, for that. What else? Torres del Rio, close to the La Rioja border. There we go. So that's where the picture is today. Gillian coming in, hoping we are well able to get back to the live stream. Now all the summer visitors have departed, having a rest now. Bob and Gillian, of course. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Diffie's in the chat. Billabong sponsorship is back. No need to buy a coffee. Getting a handy kickback from Billabong. Commodore and Qantas will be next. I wouldn't mind a Qantas sponsorship, Diffie, to be honest. A few free flights here and there would come in handy. Alex saying, I think you mentioned you were an English teacher. How many hours a week are you teaching English? Is it mostly online or physical classes? Is that my main source of income? Yeah, I have a different income sources, Alex. I learnt back in 2008 when the economy here crashed, not to have all your eggs in one basket. And also when COVID came around, I was lucky I didn't have all my eggs in one basket, because when one thing dropped off, you can work on the other thing and keep some income coming in. English teaching is what I've done primarily for the last 20 years or so. It's been a fairly steady source of income. Not the best paid job in the world, but I can't complain. Fairly happy with the people that I've met and the experiences that I've had over the years. So, yeah, that's the idea. And been mostly online for the last 10 years or so. Mostly online. Started to go online around 2013, more or less. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look. Dog's barking for some reason, not sure why. That's someone at the door, that's right. Let's have a look. Richard's saying here, Stu, he's taken all the way, away the winter fuel payment from the pensioners. Oh, that's about talking about Mr. Starmer, why he's not happy. Mr. Keir Starmer. What else we got going on? What else? Let's have a look. Let's have a look if I can find. How many live streams per week, says Brad. I think 4 I put out. Exactly, 4. What else we got going on? Dave's Basil is doing well on his terrace in Madrid. Not too hot for it. The name of the pueblo in the background is, I think we saw it before. I can't remember. Let me just check. Torres del Rio, which is in Navarra, close to the border with La Rioja, I think. And Light lives in Canada. We have laws. People must clean up after their dogs. I was surprised to hear in several Spain videos a problem with excessive doggy do. Can you comment? Yeah, interesting, the topic. I've spoken about it on numerous occasions, and basically I would say that for every 100 people that own a dog, only 50% of the population pick up after their dog. That's the statistic that I come to, given the amount of dog excrement that are all over the parks in this local area where I live on the outskirts of the city. It seems to vary from north to south, I think. I went to Bilbao a couple of months ago, didn't see any dog excrement at all in the central part of the city because obviously people clean up after their dogs. But here on the outskirts where I live, it's on the outskirts of Madrid where I live, it's absolutely shocking. So I'm not surprised that other people are complaining about it. And basically, as I said, around 50% of the dog-owning population just don't bother to pick up for whatever reason. Next live stream, Brad, is on Sunday, so hope to see you then. Now, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope everyone has had a fantastic, here we go, in Alicante, more human pee than doggy doo-doo. There we go. So both fairly disgusting, whichever way you look at it there. Now I'm going to wrap the live stream up. It's been a pleasure. Been going for 40 minutes this evening. We nearly hit the 100 likes. Didn't get there in the end, but never mind. I'm sure that I'll get there soon. It's been a pleasure as always. Hope to see you again on Sunday with another live stream. More regular content coming out tomorrow and Saturday, hopefully. Tune in for that. And as I said, Sunday, next live stream. Hasta luego. Hasta entonces. Adios. Bye-bye.